Greetings, General Grant. I hope the terms of our surrender can be negotiated peacefully.
Greetings to you too, General Lee. Firstly, we must read our letters to reconcile both of our perspectives.
That seems understandable. You should initiate since you wrote the first letter.
All right. April 7, 1865. General R.E. Lee, the result of the last week must convince you of the hopelessness of further resistance on the part of the Army of Northern Virginia in this struggle. I feel that it is so, and regard it as my duty to shift from myself the responsibility of any further effusion of blood, by asking of you the surrender of that portion of the C.S. Army known as the Army of Northern Virginia. U.S. Grant, Lieutenant General.
Headquarters Army of Northern Virginia, April 7, 1865. Lieutenant General U.S. Grant, I have received your note of this date. Though not entertaining the opinion you express on the hopelessness of further resistance on the part of the Army of Northern Virginia, I reciprocate your desire to avoid useless effusion of blood, and therefore, before considering your proposition, ask the terms you will offer on condition of its surrender. R. E. Lee, General.
April 8, 1865. General R. E. Lee, your note of last evening, in reply to mine of same date, asking the condition on which I will accept the surrender of the Army of Northern Virginia, is just received. In reply I would say that, peace being my great desire, there is but one condition I would insist upon, namely, that the men and officers surrendered shall be disqualified for taking up arms again against the government of the United States until properly exchanged. I will meet you, or will designate officers to meet any officers you may name for the same purpose, at any point agreeable to Yale, for the purpose of arranging definitely the terms upon which the surrender of the Army of Northern Virginia will be received. U.S. Grant, Lieutenant General.
Headquarters Army of Northern Virginia, April 8, 1865. Lieutenant General U.S. Grant, I received at a late hour your note of today. In mine of yesterday I did not intend to propose the surrender of the Army of Northern Virginia, but to ask the terms of your proposition. To be frank, I do not think the emergency has arisen to call for the surrender of this army, but as the restoration of peace should be the sole object of all, I desire to know whether your proposals would lead to that end. I cannot, therefore, meet you with the view to surrender the Army of Northern Virginia, but as far as your proposal may affect the CS forces under my command, and tend to the restoration of peace, I should be pleased to meet you at 10 a.m. tomorrow, on the old stage road to Richmond, between the picket lines of the two armies. R. E. Lee, General.
April 9, 1865. General R. E. Lee, your note of yesterday is received. I have no authority to treat on the subject of peace. The meeting proposed for 10 a.m. today could lead to no good. I will state, however, General, that I am equally anxious for peace with yourself, and the whole North entertains the same feeling. The terms upon which peace can be had are well understood. By the South laying down their arms they will hasten that most desirable event, save thousands of human lives, and hundreds of millions of property not yet destroyed. Seriously hoping that all our difficulties may be set tight without the loss of another life, I subscribe myself. U.S. Grant, Lieutenant General.
Headquarters Army of Northern Virginia, April 9, 1865. Lieutenant General U.S. Grant, I received your note of this morning on the picket line, whither I had come to meet you and ascertain definitely what terms were embraced in your proposal of yesterday with reference to the surrender of this army. I now ask an interview in accordance with the offer contained in your letter of yesterday for that purpose. R. E. Lee, General.
Appomattox Courthouse, VA. April 9, 1865. General R. E. Lee, in accordance with the substance of my letter to you of the 8th instant, I propose to receive the surrender of the Army of Northern Virginia on the following terms, to wit, rolls of all the officers and men to be made in duplicate, one copy to be given to an officer to be designated by me, the other to be retained by such officer or officers as you may designate. the officers to give their individual paroles not to take up arms against the government of the United States until properly exchanged, and each company or regimental commander sign a like parole for the men of their commands, the arms, artillery, and public property to be parked and stacked, and turned over to the officers appointed by me to receive them. This will not embrace the sidearms of the officers, nor their private horses or baggage. This done, each officer and man will be allowed to return to his home, not to be disturbed by U.S. authorities so long as they observe their paroles and the laws in force where they may reside. U.S. Grant, Lieutenant General.
Headquarters Army of Northern Virginia, April 9, 1865. Lieutenant General U.S. Grant, I have received your letter of this date containing the terms of surrender of the Army of Northern Virginia as proposed by you. As they are substantially the same as those expressed in your letter of the 8th instant, they are accepted. I will proceed to designate the proper officers to carry the stipulations into effect. R. Ely, General.
Since the terms have been set in the letters, I believe there are no additional terms I would like to address. Let us sign the treaty now.
I agree with your notion, and the Army of Northern Virginia will abide by the terms you have proposed, General.